In the news tonight, an Egypt Air jet sends a series of signals indicating that smoke was detected on board before it crashed into the Mediterranean on Thursday, France's Air Accident Investigation Agency says. Vietnam prepares for U.S. President Barack Obama's first visit to the country, with most Vietnamese hoping the visit will bring positive change to the country's economy. And rift on fiscal policy and currencies sets the stage for G7 advanced economies meeting in Japan for discussions on issues ranging from the global economy, foreign exchange rates, and money laundering. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Here are the details. Preparations are underway to reopen the Jordanian-Iraqi border crossing of Trebil once the area has been cleared of landmines and booby traps, according to the Iraqi ambassador to Jordan, Safiya Sohail. She told reporters in Amman that joint preparations between Iraq and Jordan continue, leading to the reopening of the border crossing. She said administrative and logistic measures are in place to reopen the border, but security checks are still pending. Iraq on Thursday announced it has regained control of Rutba city in Anbar province, located on the Baghdad-Amman highway from Daesh, which would further facilitate the reopening of Trebil and the resumption of land transport between Iraq and Jordan. And over to Iraq, and funerals were held across Baghdad for demonstrators killed by security forces yesterday when they stormed the Green Zone. At least 4 protesters were killed and 90 injured when security forces ejected them from Baghdad's Green Zone using live ammunition, rubber bullets, water cannons, and tear gas. Some security personnel were stabbed, according to a military statement. The thousands of protesters that participated included supporters of Sadr and people from other groups upset with the government's failure to approve anti-corruption reforms and provide security. It was the second such protest in a month in the Green Zone, which houses government and military buildings as well as many embassies. Russia has proposed to the U.S.-led coalition that they stage joint airstrikes on Syrian rebels, including al-Nusra Front, who are not observing a ceasefire. At a defense ministry meeting, the Russian defense minister said such action would begin as of the 25th of this month and be coordinated with the Syrian government, adding that Moscow reserved the right to stage strikes unilaterally. The minister said joint airstrikes should also target convoys carrying weapons and ammunition crossing into Syria from Turkey. Sergei Shoigu said discussions with U.S. military experts and other counterparts began on Thursday. However, the United States responded coolly and made clear it had little interest in the idea, noting Russia has floated similar proposals in the past. And in the continued fight against Daesh, the United States and allied forces targeted the terrorists with 18 strikes in Iraq and 7 in Syria since yesterday. 4 of the strikes in Iraq were near Mosul, hitting 4 Daesh tactical units and 3 vehicles. And in Syria, 4 of the strikes were near Al-Riqqa that hit a weapons cache and a checkpoint. Arab League Secretary General Nabil al-Arabi urged the United Nations Security Council to reconsider its policies towards conflicts in the region and help reach a ceasefire in Syria and other conflict-stricken countries to save lives being lost on a daily basis. Al-Arabi was speaking at a meeting of Arab League representatives with a Security Council mission in Cairo to discuss the situation in Syria, Palestine, Libya, and other war zones. The meeting is the first consultation to take place between the Council and the Arab League. Chair of the rotating League presidency this month, Bahrain's representative Rashid bin Khalifa said the meeting provided an opportunity to coordinate regional and international positions and expressed hope for a permanent mechanism that could ensure continuity of consultation between the two organizations. The UN Security Council mission was recently in Somalia, where they urged Parliament to speed up approval of new election rules to ensure an August vote is held on time, saying delays would put recovery from the conflict at risk. The search operation for Egypt Air Flight MS-804 that crashed into the Mediterranean on Thursday, killing 66 people on board, continues. The U.S. Navy provided support to the Joint Rescue Coordination Center in Greece in response to a request by the U.S. Embassy in Athens. Latest reports by France's Air Accident Investigation Agency indicated that smoke had been detected on board, but it remains unclear as to what caused the smoke or fire. At a news conference in Paris, French Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault told reporters that he met the families of the French passengers to offer condolences to the French government and the president and to assure them that the government was doing everything possible to assist in the investigation of the crash. Barack Obama is to visit Hiroshima, the first serving U.S. president to travel to the Japanese city since it was hit by a U.S. nuclear bomb in 1945. The Hiroshima bombing killed 140,000 people. The visit will be part of an Asian trip starting today that begins in Vietnam. Obama will meet Vietnam's leadership and deliver a speech in the capital, Hanoi, on U.S.-Vietnam relations.
The northern Vietnamese city of Hanoi is preparing for a special visitor, U.S. President Barack Obama, who will arrive here on Monday. Posters adorn shop windows with the hopes of attracting customers. The owner of this small passport photo shop says he's excited. "I'm very happy," he said. "If I could meet him, it'd be like a dream come true." Only the third sitting U.S. president to visit the country, Obama will spend time with the newly elected president and other government officials before making his way to Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam wants to end a 30-year arms embargo as they look to improve security amid increasing tensions with China. The White House has said a decision on whether to lift that embargo would be linked in part to the country's human rights record. Obama is in the region to attend a Group of 7 meeting later in the week in Japan.
And in Japan, finance leaders of the Group of 7 are gathered in the northeast city of Sendai for a 2-day discussion on issues related to global economy and foreign exchange rates. Discussions are also focusing on tax transparency and money laundering in the wake of the Panama Papers data leak. Tax havens and transparency have been thrust into the spotlight as governments worldwide launch probes into possible financial wrongdoing after the details of hundreds of thousands of clients' tax affairs were leaked. Today, the United States issued a fresh warning to Tokyo against intervening in currency markets, with the two countries' differences over foreign exchange overshadowing the meeting ahead of the G7 summit next week. Rescue operations continue in Sri Lanka after days of torrential rains have forced hundreds of thousands from their homes in the worst flooding to hit the country in decades. At least 71 people have died from the flooding and 2 accompanying landslides. The military is trying to reach survivors clinging to rare dry patches and the upper floors of their homes, as media organizations and civil groups have launched public appeals for food, water, and clothing. Here's more.
The floodwaters are rising in Sri Lanka, where days of torrential rains have stranded thousands in the nation's worst flooding in decades. Small rescue boats are cruising flooded streets, rescuing hundreds from neighborhoods where cars once drove. More than 375,000 people have fled their homes, while some 200,000 are estimated to be displaced in Colombo alone.
Those who are on the second floor have no problems. They are fine. But water levels keep increasing. It will come down only if it stops raining.
The heavy rains have also caused 2 landslides. Altogether, the flooding and landslides have killed at least 71 people. And with many more still missing, the rescue mission here remains far from over.
A giant NASA fuel tank is making its final journey along the streets of Los Angeles to a science center where it will be displayed with the space shuttle Endeavour. The California Science Center has called the mission E.T. Comes Home, in a play on the external tank name and the 1982 movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The transport is a sequel to the 2012 mission to tow Endeavour from the Los Angeles airport to the Science Center, a project that captivated crowds of onlookers. The over 29,000 kilogram fuel tank, 47-meter long, was towed by truck on rolling dollies from Marina del Rey, where it had arrived on a barge. The journey was to end this evening in Los Angeles. The solar-powered plane midway through a historic bid to circle the globe took off from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Dayton, Ohio on the 12th leg of its journey. Solar Impulse 2 flight crews say the plane is expected to take 18 hours to reach Dayton. The globe-circling voyage began in March last year from Abu Dhabi and made stops in Oman, Myanmar, China and Japan. The plane was expected to make at least one more stop in the U.S. before crossing the Atlantic Ocean to Europe or Northern Africa. With a wingspan exceeding that of a Boeing 747, but an ultra-light carbon fiber skin and overall weight of a car, the Solar Impulse cruises at speeds ranging from 55 to 100 kilometers per hour. The four engines of the propeller-driven aircraft are powered exclusively by energy collected from more than 17,000 solar cells built into its wings. The solar project began in 2002 to highlight the importance of renewable energy and the spirit of innovation, with a cost of more than $100 million.
What? In case of immediate return, we'll make a left and
Important titles secured. Barcelona and Sevilla aim to sweeten already successful seasons in the Copa del Rey final tomorrow. Barcelona is defending its domestic cup trophy at the Vicente Calderón Stadium in Madrid, a week after winning its second straight Spanish league title. The Liga champions face a Sevilla side that is riding high after clinching a third straight Europa League title on Wednesday, defeating Liverpool 3-1. Barca has won the King's Cup 27 times, while Sevilla has won the trophy 5 times. Tomorrow's match will be the 4th meeting of the sides this season. Australian Rowan Dennis raced a Stage 6 win in the individual time trial at the Tour of California. The BMC racing rider completed the 20.3 kilometer stage in 24 minutes and 16 seconds to move into second place overall. American time trial champion Andrew Talansky took the second step of the stage, while American Taylor Phinney placed third. The 8-day event now heads west to the town of Santa Rosa for the 175.5 kilometers stage 7 before finishing tomorrow with a 136.5 kilometer ride around the capital, Sacramento. And finally, cool weather prevails in most regions for the rest of tonight, with northwesterly light to moderate winds. Tomorrow, a rise in temperature is expected, but it remains moderate in most parts of the kingdom, while it'll be relatively hot in the Badia and Jordan Valley. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect hot conditions with a high of 38 degrees Celsius, while winds will be northerly moderate and the seas calm. Here now is a look at temperatures forecast for tonight and tomorrow. And to close, here's a reminder of the day's top stories. An Egypt Air jet sends a series of signals indicating that smoke was detected on board before it crashed into the Mediterranean on Thursday, France's Air Accident Investigation Agency says. Vietnam prepares for U.S. President Barack Obama's first visit to the country, with most Vietnamese hoping the visit will bring positive change to the country's economy. And drift on fiscal policy and currency sets the stage for G7 Advanced Economies meeting in Japan for discussions on issues ranging from the global economy, foreign exchange rates, and money laundering. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Alia Tuqan. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.